2, 1. Hi, everybody. It's Ask Me About My Blackness. Still haven't made a theme song or anything yet, but we're working on it. So today's on this discussion panel. We are talking about whether you could be pro-Black and Christian, and we have the following kings and queens. We can start with Stefan, our reoccurring face.
Hi, I'm Stefan, from North Carolina, went to school at Wesleyan, so I went to school with all of you. That's really all I can say.
Chastity.
Hey guys, my name is Chastity Searcy and I go to school at Wesleyan.
Tavon.
Hi everyone, I'm Tavon Gregory and I am also a student at North Carolina Wesleyan.
And Miss Talia.
Hello everyone, I'm Talia and I am also a student at North Carolina Wesleyan.
So reoccurring theme, yes, these are all my peers from college and they bring me joy, they bring me conversation. These are some of the faces that even drove me forward into making my YouTube and making sure it happens. So I thank these faces every day. I see these faces every day. I love them all so much. So, as stated on my posts and everything like that, we're going to talk about being pro-Black and being Christian, and even if those two things can coexist together. I know I've spoken to many other pro-Black kings that say that you can't, just based on like the way that Christianity was used during the slavery period of Black people. They even go deeper into the actual content messages that some that they believe it was just, there's no way that you can be for the people and be for God at the same time, because they believe that well, God is a very passive being. He wants just for you as the individual to be on his side and not really he wants all the followers and everything like that, but also he wants you to do it in the kind, respectful way, versus I guess some militant pro-Black people, they want action, they want violence, things of that nature, and that those are some codes that I guess aren't up to standard. So anyway, we're just here to discuss and see if maybe we could have a middle ground, see if there really is a divide, or just clear up any questions that clear up any if those people that need answers, they can get those answers from here, because I have these questions as well. I'm very much confused as I was a Christian. I grew up in the church myself, everything like this, but of course, me reading, me being just so open-minded, it's very much clouded my vision as far as why I stopped being a Christian, things of that nature. So maybe you guys can put me back on track. Maybe you guys can, you know what I mean? So I sent you all the questions and everything like that. So I'm gonna just get started with the first.
Before you get started, can I talk about one of the things that you just mentioned?
You may.
About the way the Bible was used during slavery and the messages that were told to slaves and stuff. Please. A lot of the Bible that was given to slaves, for one, wasn't the full Bible. So they didn't have the full Bible. And a lot of things were taken out of context. So a lot of stuff that they were told to be good slaves and stuff, it only had some of the scriptures inside of everything that was actually in the Bible that they were given. They were only given the parts that were be good slaves and be good to your masters, but They weren't given the parts where it literally tells the masters to treat their slaves like they're human beings. So I think a lot of people sometimes, and still today, a lot of the Bible is taken out of context. So that's why it's very important for you to read it for yourself, because you never know what somebody's saying or if it's actually correct. But I just wanted, since you had like brought that up.
That and that's very true. That's a very true history lesson right there. If y'all didn't really connect that, like I've heard many times of those of the tampering of the Bible, especially during those times, to bond and even more dehumanize our people. So
Well, can I also add on to that too?
okay, I like it. Okay.
But like my thing though right now is like one of the major reasons why I stepped away from like Christianity as a religion was because it was like I started to see how much of an indoctrinated culture it's really become. I'm sure y'all are familiar with Not Carlton Banks' Instagram page. You feel me? Sister Squint.
Elaborate just a little bit more to those who don't.
So this is Instagram comedian who basically has his whole page dedicated towards church humor, or more so talking about a lot of the common things that we all go through growing up in the Black church. And the fact that I can be able to relate to a lot of what's happening and also see caricatures that represent a lot of the members that go to my church that I was going to, like, when I was growing up, it kind of like raised a red flag to me. Where it was like, am I really doing this because I'm forced to come to church,
Mm-hmm.
or because it's a part of the culture, or am I doing this because it's actually my relationship with my creator? So I really wanted to elaborate more on like a relationship versus an actual religion. And even then I'm still trying to figure that out for myself. But for right now, especially, I find it really hard to be woke and, Christian as, today's terms, is how we call it today, because it's like we just talked about how Christianity itself was used to basically put us down and used in order to change our mindset and how we, serve, white supremacy, and how it has allowed us to become complacent and a lot of different, atrocities that have gone on in our nation. So that's why I have like issues with it personally. And like from my friend's perspective too, from what you were talking about before, they had significant issues with God. Now, I said, no, that's your business. I'm not going to sit here and outright curse God necessarily for, the things that people have gone through. That's not something I would hold, God accountable for everything that goes on in our nation. But it's like a lot of people have a lot of anger towards God because of the issues that our people have gone through. What kind of, father would you be to allow your children to go through what we went through? So it's like you have people who are like fully acknowledging Christianity and hating it simply because like God put his people through so much. And then you also have like people who say, oh, the whole institution of Christianity is fake. The religion, everything, the belief system, all that stuff is fake. And it's nothing but a ploy to get people to be complacent and serve white men. So, yeah.
And that's what we're here to, I guess, debunk if we can, clarify, because I'm not on the I'm learning. I'm definitely just say I'm just learning. I'm definitely here for the experience. I'm here for clarity. So I'm glad that I got the right group right here. Honestly, very, very satisfied. So do you see like a conflict, like not see, let me see. Where do you believe is the confusion with like the two mindsets of being Christian and being pro-Black? Like why is that such a like you can't, like why is that such a, what's it called, double entendre? Why is that such an oxymoron?
Can I go?
Yeah.
I would say that comes from the pro-Black, more radical side, saying that Christianity is a white man's religion.
Okay.
And then there's the rest of us Blacks trying to hold on to what we know and believe. Now, if we go back through history and do our research, we'll understand that Christianity was here way before it was brought to the Americas. It was
Mhm.
already established, and it was established in Africa. So that debunks the whole "it's a white man's religion" type thing, because no, it wasn't. Also, we do have to also remember that when when the slaves came here, some of them were Muslim, and they were other different types of religions. And we do have to also remember that Christianity is one of the three Abrahamic religions. So it all comes together in different forms and different ways. But the way I see it is, wait, I think I'm jumping into one of your questions. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you can, it's okay, because I know I be doing the same thing. It's okay, just roll with it, yeah.
But what I was going to say is, the way I see it is there's multiple religions. How do I say it? How do I put it? There's multiple religions. There's multiple ways to get to the same God. We're all trying to get to the same God, but there are like a million different branches to get to that same God. I did jump to one of your questions, though.
It's fine, though, because we can jump into it.
But yeah, that's where it comes from. Like that whole Christianity is a white man's religion type thing. And then again, there's us, us trying to hold on to what we know works for us, what is best for us. Because most of us, we grew up in the church. Our families grew up in the church. We have preachers, pastors, deacons, all in our family. If we leave the church, then what will we have? And I'm not saying like we're a hopeless people and we ain't gonna know. For real, like if we being honest, if you grew up in the church and you know and believe God for yourself, if because you believe you're so pro-black and so radical, once you leave, then what do you do? I believe, and that's where to me, that's where a big conflict comes from. But there's also a nice balance that can be found in between. But you have to be willing to find that balance and be open to reading your Bible, because the whole Bible is all about social justice. The entire Bible, even the crucifixion of Jesus, was about social justice. And Moses releasing the people from not Pilate, what's that man name? Y'all know who I'm talking about anyways. But yeah, like the whole thing is about a whole big social justice movement. But yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, like I was just talking about this with a friend earlier
You're
too,
next,
how
Leah.
a lot of the teachings of Jesus was like so anti-establishment. And like if we had a Jesus today, if Jesus came through and like, manifested himself today like he did in the past, a lot of people would hate him. Like all your rich people would hate him, the government would hate him, everyone would just straight up hate him because he's literally here to take down a lot of like the vanity that our world is going through, So like definitely I wouldn't say like the whole concept of Christ is like the issue. It's more so like the denominations of Christianity that we're still practicing today that have obviously showed their true colors, and oppressing us over the past couple of generations. Like that's my thing.
Miss Talia.
Oh, I want
I
to jump in.
believe
Oh,
the disconnect comes in where to be a Christian, our first thing is to love. And it's like most people, to be pro-black means you have to hate white people. And I believe that is exactly where the disconnect comes, because why do I have to hate the white man in order to love myself, love my people, to support my people, to love my people, to help my people? I don't have to now dislike. I have my moments, and then I have to get on my knees and pray and be like, Jesus, I don't want to hate this man, help me. So I believe that right there is the difference between being just pro-black and pro-black and Christian, because we have to love everybody regardless of what they do to us. And in order to do that, you have to lean into God. And it's kind of like on the other side, it's like, how can you love the people who have done nothing but destroy your people and beat them and like does not love you at all? But it's like, that's where God comes in. Like, trust me, every day I have my moments and I'm like, this white man right here, I don't like him. But then I'm like, okay, I can't do that. So I feel like, again, that's where the disconnect comes, because you can be pro-black and love your people without hating another people.
okay.
I think I want to add on to what Talia said. I saw this tweet, and the tweet was like, what the tweet said, I want to get it right. It said white people think pro-black means anti-white because pro-white represents anti-black and everything else. And because like the white nationalist people who are like so full of pride and like white pride, like it's them over everybody else. And so when we say we're pro-black, they think that we're on that same type of time. Like it's black people over everybody. Is like we running it. Like I don't think when we say that we're pro-black, it's not like if everybody else. I think it's we want the same rights, we want the same opportunities, we want justice, we want equality, and we don't get that. So we have to be pro-black. Like we have to support ourselves because nobody else is going to support us. And so when people say, or when they hear pro-black, they think, oh, she hate everybody. She's on that. Like when I feel like when we say pro-black, they think we want to burn stuff down. Some people do want to burn stuff down, but that's not everybody. We just want rights and stuff. So like just to piggyback off of what you said about being pro-black, it's not that we hate everybody or that we hate white people. It's just that we want rights and equality. And I think that's where the disconnect comes in, because they translate it like they translate pro-black to be something crazy.
Well, like also like to bounce off of your Chastity, you have your Dr. Umars out here too, who are really out here like disrespecting white people on the next level and trying to make it seem as if like in order to be pro-black, you have to make black a priority over everything else in a lot of different aspects. And not only do that, but do it disrespectfully too. Like I'm gonna be like, when it comes to my pro-blackness, I'm gonna do it respectfully. You know, I'm not gonna sit over here and like hate on white people's stuff and everything else too. I'm going to acknowledge that whatever y'all got going on is cool or whatever else, but I need to appreciate my people first and whatever my people are going to be able to create for ourselves and do whatever I can to protect that. Now, the unfortunate thing though is like, and this is where I also believe the disconnect is. I think the disconnect in being pro-black is more so being anti-establishment and where we want to pick and choose where we want to be that at. And religion has been like the biggest thing that has like been a part to enforce the establishment as well too. And like burning down buildings and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm all for it. You know, if you want to burn down like, you know, an old slave building, you feel me? Or like, you know, a building that has genuinely been used to oppress our people. Or if you want to value, you know, like money over the general livelihoods of people and their ability to like exist peacefully, then I can understand why some people would go to those extreme measures. But to like bring it back over to religion though, like I said, religion has been one of those things used by the establishment in order to like put us down. And, you know, I look at like, you know, the Masonic Jews, I believe that's what they're called. Like I had a friend from like high school. She was a Jew who wore a hijab. And I'm like, what? How does that work out? And then you believe in Jesus. Like, how does that work out? And then I just got exposed to this whole new like cluster of like, you know, believers of Jesus, where it's like they practice, you know, the Jewish faith, but also incorporate Jesus into their belief system. I don't know everything about it, but like that's like the newer wave of like Black Gentiles, I believe. Tavon could probably explain a little bit more on it. I only took one religion course, but yeah, y'all kind of get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Well, then I guess my next question would be like, considering that religion itself is very much connected with each other as far as, well, I'm gonna say the God part, the single God image. Christians believe in Jesus. Jews believe in what? Mary, Abraham. Who?
It's not like they believe in, like they believe in God and like they believe in, you know, like living in good faith, but they also are like waiting on a savior. That's like how one branch of Jews go by it. But then you also have like another branch of Jews, which is a lot of the Afro Jews that I've been getting exposed to recently, who still believe in Jesus, but it's not like they feel as if Jesus, you know, established his own religion where he wanted people to worship him. It's more so it's like, oh, Jesus set the example. We must follow and be like Jesus in all the Jewish principles that we had in the past. Like Christianity nowadays, like in the broad scope, is like, oh wow, it's like we are going to worship Jesus as like, you know, a part of the Holy Trinity. But this other branch of Jews that I'm talking about, they don't think of it as like a Holy Trinity. They think of Jesus as the example of which we are supposed to follow in order to achieve salvation.
Thank you. That I did not know. or I knew to an extent, I didn't know how to word it. So I thank you.
Yeah, like
Very
I don't know everything. Like this is just from my one friend, and I know there's a lot of like people like that out there. I just haven't done enough research on it myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that's how a lot of people operate.
Well, to the question at hand, I basically was just going to say that religion is very much complex, and until you as the individual is within those bounds, then okay, yes, you are able to understand and you are able to kind of follow whatever guidelines that they provide. However, a lot of people's disconnect is when it comes to the church and I guess Black issues, and when the church, meaning like Black churches, not necessarily white churches, because I don't know. But as far as the Black church and I guess movements that's been happening, the movements before George Floyd, as a Christian, how do you handle Black issues in other community movements?
I would say I just pray and jump in and get in where I fit in. I mean, because if we think about it, then without the Black church and our beliefs, there would have been no civil rights movement. There wouldn't have been no kind of movement or Black church, honestly, if we think about it. Because the Black church today, as we know it, our people, they went from slavery from the white church and built our own churches and our own denominations, such as the AME, African Methodist Episcopal, um, some of the Pentecostalism, the Apostolics, Missionary Baptists, which I'm a part of, Full Gospel Baptists, like all of that came from us, like that was for us. And I lost my train of thought. What was the question again?
It was like how do you or your churchgoers like handle Black issues in the church, or
Yeah.
is that why like there's the divide? Because I know it's you're not supposed to bring the government and church together. Like there's laws and stuff within that.
That's cap.
I don't agree with that because I know especially the church one church in Rocky Mount, word tab. They in Rocky Mount, they have had like they're mostly it's people from that church in the protests for Rocky Mount. Is people that go to Black Lives Matter movements. A lot of them are from the church.
Mm-hmm.
The pastor talks. I mean, like you got to understand that, like, just because we're Christians don't mean we don't feel the pain or hurt either.
Absolutely right.
And anytime I'm able to go to some kind of protest, you just take Jesus with you. You ain't gotta not do it.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off of that too, because honestly, I feel like it's definitely a Black church issue, but I think the reason the Black church does, I'm gonna say this, I feel like as believers, first and foremost, we are called to stand up for injustice. That's what Jesus did as a Jewish man 2,000 years ago. So as his followers, Black, white, brown, and blue, he's supposed to still speak up and stand up for people for injustice wherever it's at. And when I was in Chicago for the past 4 years, I saw a white man do that on the west side of Chicago because that was his passion, was to stand up for injustices. Had nothing. I mean, I think him being a white man in a predominantly Black community, he was overly aware of how disenfranchised Black people always are. And, so we consistently get the short end of the stick. So I think for us, when we stand up for injustice, we're typically standing up for ourselves. But I feel like what Tavon said too, though, like without the civil rights movement kind of giving us a blueprint as to
Talia said it was sideways, my bad. Okay, keep talking.
Blueprint to they kind of just set the tone, but I feel like that I'm with Talia, and Jesus spoke to the government, and Paul did too. because that's a part of this world. Like I don't feel like there is anything that our gospel message should not touch because it affects all of our life, and the government is a part of our lives.
This is Daquan, by the way. He's introducing himself.
Hey y'all, I'm Daquan. I've introduced myself.
And also, like Tavon said, like without the church, there would not have been like any like civil rights. Like all of that stuff happened inside of the church. Like they met in the church. Like they sung gospel songs when they were protesting.
Right.
Like so, without the Black church, you know, we wouldn't even be where we are today.
Because honestly, the Black church is what gave us our strength, and it still gives us our strength today. Honestly, especially I ain't gonna say, well, for me, I can speak for myself. It still does. Like I remember when George Floyd was killed, and like you remember all of us, we had all these types of emotions, and with Breonna Taylor and Atiana Jefferson, and all those, and all I can remember, I was sitting there listening to a gospel song that I have always listened to. Help is on the way, and then I just started crying, and I'm like, for what? This is what it's all every day.
Yeah,
and that made me realize like that is a part of our social justice, like bringing Jesus into that, helping us move on, and he was the one that was giving us our strength through all of that. And I would say he was our main source through slavery. We didn't worship their God. Well,
wait, I was just about to say, now this is where my next question lied, because do y'all believe in white Jesus?
They didn't want us
Jesus?
to, but we actually still got to.
Jesus isn't white or black.
He's
somewhere in the he brown skin.
Middle Eastern.
Somewhere in the middle.
Right.
But
no, but listen when I say this, because when I say white Jesus, Black Jesus, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when this time run out. I think I'm gonna just bring y'all back in. But what I say about white Jesus and Black Jesus is just that like for me, white Jesus white Jesus is what the Christians back in the 1800s was using. That's what they used to fuel their power as white men, white women, to continue to treat us as we were, as what they thought we were. And so when we move later into these times, I feel that it's the same principle as far as like there's a scripture. I wish I have this is why I need to write stuff down. There's the scripture when I think they said it was Abraham's son, not Cain, Ham something.
Ham was black. Yeah, he was dark skinned. Yeah.
Right. So they get into his his characteristics and stuff like that.
Noah had a son named Ham. Remember on the ark?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So they moved to the Tigris and Euphrates, which is in Africa.
Right. Okay. So I guess back to the question at hand. So white Jesus, Black Jesus. We know that he's not we know that he's not white, but we also know that he's not supposed to be defined as any one being too, right?
Well, Jesus was a human. I mean, he's God, but he's also human. That man was Middle Eastern. He had brown skin, so he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't from Africa in the sense that he was like from Ghana, but like literally Bethlehem today would be like, it would be like Saudi Arabia-ish area. So he would look like he was Arabic today, basically.
Okay. Cool.
Wait, can I make a point though about? I know we're talking about the Black church. I don't want to get off topic.
Please do. No, please do. Because when this time run out, I'm gonna be on y'all. So yeah, please do.
I don't know what's about to happen next, but the Black church, basically, I know, like, so the church I was going to, so I definitely shout out where it's at because we be like on the ground for real. But the church I was going to in Chicago, well, one of them named Progressive. Chicago really uses the power of the people. Let me tell you, this church named Progressive Baptist Church, literally at the time that they were electing a new mayor, they utilized the power of the Black voice in the Black church so well, because they literally would take all the mayoral candidates, and they held a panel discussion at this church, and it became a haven where literally Black people from all over the South Side showed up to Progressive just to hear who these new politicians are running for them for, and they gave them an avenue to discuss, okay, what are you going to do for Black people? And then the church had the opportunity to ask them these questions. And so I feel like the Black church creating these spaces, it's called the AND campaign. Y'all can look it up, but like the Black church creating these spaces for us to make demands and to be heard and to make our prayers and our concerns heard is like, that's action. You know what I'm saying? So that's like modern day civil rights that's happening. So we love the Black church over here. That's all.
Yeah, like for me though, it was like I've seen multiple sides of the spectrum in regards to seeing Black people in the church. Whereas like I see the typical not Carlton Banks, caricature style, kind of like you got your Sister Shirley, a potato salad type, and you have people who are really closed-minded and focused on their own individual church politics without really investing into the rest of the community. And at a point in time, I was literally looking at the church like, have y'all lost your mind? Because we have issues. Like, I remember we had a big situation go on in my county. I can't really elaborate on too much because I ain't trying to dox myself or nothing, you feel me? But it was like Black issues were being brought up over at a city council meeting, and the representatives that, the church has, pushed forward and tried to get to be appointed in these positions, they did not advocate for our people at all. And I saw it all happen and go down in front of my own two eyes. That right there made me just question the whole system. And like in regards to watching, the civil rights movement, I was talking to another friend about this too. Is like, yes, Christianity definitely brought us to a new level in regards to our rights that we have today. But was that the only avenue that we had? And I think that's another question that a lot of like woke people are talking about nowadays is like, is Christianity the only avenue that we have towards achieving what we want as a people?
Okay. Whoa. Okay. Y'all was, I knew I got the right people for this. Okay. So we got 4 minutes left on the chat. I'm going to end it right here before I shift gears. So I'm going to add you guys again. So be close by your phones. Give me like 2 minutes, okay?